Hello there, lovely people. Welcome back to Jash's Kitchen for another episode of Cooking with Jash. That's me. On today's menu, we have some lemon butter sage chicken. That is going to be our star. So let's kick things off with our ingredients. You will need about 4 chicken breasts. Now this may not seem like 4, but it's because I've cut them in half already. You're going to need 2 lemons, some sage leaves, some sprigs of thyme. You'll need some Parmesan cheese, grated. You'll need salt, pepper, about 4 tablespoons of butter, flour, olive oil, some dry wine, Pinot Grigio or Sauvignon Blanc, 1.5 cups of cherry tomatoes, and that's actually it. Simple ingredients for today. This recipe is supposed to be about 25 minutes cooking, about 10 minutes prep, and so that's about 40 minutes and some change in total. Alright, so let's start prepping the chicken. So to begin, I'm going to heat the skillet, and I'm going to add some olive oil in there, so that way by the time we're finished seasoning the chicken, hopefully the skillet will be heated. Alright, so let's leave that there. Let's head back to the cutting board, season the chicken. Okay, so I have a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese and a 1/3 cup of flour. So I'm just going to toss it around like so. Now in this cup I've already mixed in salt and pepper just to make seasoning a little easier. We're just going to do salt and pepper on the chicken breast, both sides. Okay, now we dip the chicken, both sides, in this flour. You're just going to press lightly so that it coats the chicken. My name is Jash, I'm the best in the whole wide world. Okay, the chicken is coated. I'm just going to do a quick check on the pan, see if it's ready. Now the way that my parents told me to check a hot pot is to drizzle some water, and if it crackles, we're good. Okay, now in goes the chicken. Alright, so the chicken's there. Let's let that cook for about 3 to 5 minutes on one side, then we will flip. So, see you in a few minutes. Alright, so while the chicken cooks, I'm actually going to start prepping for the next couple steps. You're going to need a 1/3 cup of lemon juice. And the other lemon, you're going to actually just slice it. Perfect. I got my 1/3 cup here. I got my juicer. Perfect. Now, if you've got your sage, now's the time where you can kind of pluck the leaves off and just have that set aside so that when the chicken's ready, it's easy to toss it in. Now, let's actually check in on our chicken. Starting to get nice and golden. This nice golden layer on the outside. So if you don't have that after 3 to 5 minutes, then you can keep it on a little bit longer before flipping it over, because that is what gives the chicken its amazing taste. Alright, let's check the other side. So once both sides are golden, we're just going to remove it from the pot, put it on a plate. So I'm noticing some of them are not as golden on one side like the rest, so I'm actually just going to leave them on for a few more minutes, maybe 1 more minute. Alright, so our last 2 pieces of chicken are done. Now, we have that off, so you're going to take your 4 tablespoons or a quarter of a stick of butter, toss that in, you make sure the fan's on. We're going to add in the lemon slices and the sage. Okay, so we are going to actually let the butter brown. We're going to let the lemon and the sage brown, so that should take about a minute. Now again, depending on your stove, might be more, might be less. So just keep a close eye on this while this cooks. Alright, so our lemon and our sage has browned, so we're just going to add it to the chicken. Hide and seek with these sage leaves. Alright, great. Now just for a quick moment, I'm going to take this off the heat while I get our next ingredients to add into the same pan. Okay, so let's head back over to the cutting board. And let's get our thyme leaves ready, because we're going to need to add this into the pot. So you're going to need about 2 tablespoons of thyme leaves. Alright, 2 tablespoons later, we grab all the others. Cool. So I've got 2 tablespoons of thyme. So we're going to need our tomatoes and the thyme, and you can add a pinch of salt and pepper, but to be honest, the last time I added salt and pepper, I found the dish to be a little too salty. So this time I think I might just add pepper and skip out on the salt. So let's add this to the skillet. tomatoes start to get a little blistery, which shouldn't take too long. You're looking at a couple minutes here. Alright. So let's leave the tomatoes alone to blister, and I'm just going to do a little bit of tidying up. So see you very shortly. Alright, now that's it. Now that the tomatoes have blistered, we are going to add in half a cup of that dry white wine, and a third cup of that freshly squeezed lemon juice. So I'm just going to lower the heat, or I've already lowered it to medium. We're just going to let this simmer until the sauce reduces. Okay, so you're actually supposed to let this simmer for about 1 minute, which it's been about 2. So now this is where we add back the chicken and the lemon slices and the sage. Alright, so we're going to let this simmer for about 5 minutes, and then it's time to plate, my favorite part. Alright, so I went ahead and I made myself some basmati rice, but the recipe that I actually got this from calls for a side of mashed cauliflower. Now, if you really want to make the mashed cauliflower, I will leave the recipe and the ingredients in the description below. But for me, again, I just decided to make this a little bit easier and use some white basmati rice. So, to plate, we're just going to add in the rice. Alright, and now we're just going to grab a piece of the chicken. We're going to add some of the tomatoes. You can grab a lemon slice, some of the sage, and then we're going to just add some of this sauce to the rice, which is why the recipe says to use the mashed cauliflower, because it absorbs the sauce of the chicken. And there we have it. You have your lemon butter sage chicken with a side of rice. You're gonna love this recipe. I certainly did, which is why I decided to make it a second time. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Cooking with Jash. Please let me know if you like this recipe. Give it a thumbs up. And again, recipe will be down below in the description. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.